Welcome to Women on Top. I am Ubusisiwe Intokazi Wankoyana. And today in South Africa, as we know, we enter into the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, women and children abuse. The root of gender-based violence is still unknown. The ills of society sometimes glamorize it, and often we treat it as an event more than a lifestyle. We talk about this issue and this matter only when it's an event or we need to be public speakers, or it's a program on TV, or we've been invited somewhere to deal with the matter. For some people, this is not an event. For some people, this is a daily lifestyle. There's a woman beaten every day, and there is someone known to everyone that is experiencing such a life. The issue does become very personal to me. I cannot say that I'm a victim. I'm alive, so I guess that makes me a survivor. But I have experienced emotional abuse. I have experienced physical abuse. I have experienced sexual abuse. And it is sickening to know that my perpetrator, for one, was someone known to the community. I've opened cases, and I can boldly say, Uti, the system has failed women like me more often than once. I do remember that there was an incident that caused me to go to a police station to report a crime. And upon my arrival, I was the one that was arrested, and I spent 3 nights in prison. Due to the fact that the system does not look at facts, the system does not look at human rights. If you do not have proof of an incident happening at the time, you are not taken seriously. I've been beaten up. I do remember my body being found at the Senate, where the guy thought that he had killed me. To date, the guy has not paid for his crimes. The effect on this was ripple. I do know that my children were affected tremendously by the violence and the experiences. So I wish that men understood that these actions do not just affect the victim, but it affects the family, it affects the people that care for the victim, it affects the people that the victim cares for. And it is exactly what leads me to saying that we need more solutions than just identifying the problem. In most cases, as young mothers, our parents or family will never understand when we ask them to look after our children. They never consider the fact that when we ask you to look after my child, I could be preventing a certain incident from taking place. We date these guys, or they are in our lives, therefore we've experienced them and we know them very well. So sometimes when we ask, in most cases, we know that we are protecting the children. I do know for a fact that had I had the strong support system that I have now, my children could have been saved from these type of experiences. My children could not have known such. So family should come in and help out. Khona manje you try to report these type of matters to families and you know, and they'll always say, Uguti, you chose this guy. We all know, Uguti, if something was written rotten from the pack, no one would eat it. So families in most cases don't assist because they feel that it's a choice that you have made. Yes, it is a choice and a mistake that you have made, but if an opportunity arises for a family member or a friend or a loved one to assist, a lot of these ills could be prevented. If I ask you, Uguti, please come and pick me up, I'm at a certain place, I'm feeling uneasy. Most yabantu to do that. I know that I have a friend who committed suicide a few years ago. And the only thing I heard was his friend saying, you know, and I did get a missed call from him. Or, you know, and I did get a message from him to say that he needs me at the moment. It's funny because I've always said that South Africa only listens to dead bodies. I feel like my story would have made it far had I died. But nobody wanted to really know how I came out of it alive. And honestly speaking, support system did help. So yes, we can prevent the stats from going up. We can prevent another woman from becoming a statistic of such violences by actually paying attention, by actually being proactive. If you receive a phone call from someone and saying that they are crying for help, my advice is that you do what you can. Because akusizi nifike nikhale emathuneni kuma memorial service and you're telling these sad stories but you knew. I feel that everyone does have the capacity to do something, even if it's just a little thing. You know, and I've noticed that in most cases, perpetrators, once they are aware that you've made someone aware of what is happening, they do kind of get scared and they set back. So once also a perpetrator knows Uguti, you don't have assistance, you don't have help, you don't have anyone to run to, they take advantage of that situation. And yes, that's when in most cases things do end up really badly. So yes, it would be great if the law would understand this and it would act more rapidly when it's required to do so. It would really help if our parents, if our mothers understood our situations better. And just because we have boyfriends, it does not mean that our parents have to hand over their parental responsibilities to these guys. Our parents even need to be more active in our lives when we have partners. Because if they are, they will be able to also identify if something is wrong. Give advice here and there. Give opportunities for us to talk boldly about what is happening within our relationships. Our children are not safe. So basically, in general, all I'm saying is that if you do realize that you can assist someone, do it. Pick up your phone. If your girlfriend says, I'm feeling uneasy about going to work today. If your daughter says, I'm feeling uneasy about going to work today. Yes, the system says that we're supposed to be in a school or in a workplace between 7 and 5. But our instincts also do tell us. You see, abuse is something that doesn't always come as a surprise. There will always be a sign. And I feel that our intuitions also talk to us as women. Our intuitions talk to our children. Gangsterism is very high in the area that I live in. And I feel like a lot of children have mentioned to their parents. We ignore what we see on social media to say, but there's gangsterism in the township. There's a child that died and was buried in school uniform. If you feel what your child is not safe on that day, to hell with the system. They don't have to be there. Because sometimes we send ourselves to our own deaths. And uvalo is something that is second nature to every human being. So my advice is that we don't force our women. If your woman or if your daughter is saying, today I'm scared, today I feel this guy might do something. Or if you're a friend and you are being called by your other mate and she's saying to you, friend, this guy is looking at me funny. This guy is raising his voice. This guy sent a text at me. I mean, I still send a screenshot of an Uber cab or a Taxify cab that I'm using to go to certain places. My friend is in another country, but I still send it to her because we need to also know how to be safe. We need to know how to buy time and come out of situations alive. And lastly, the issue that trash is not gender-based. Trash does not have a gender. We need to tackle the issue on women violence. We need to tackle the issue on women abuse. We need to tackle the issue on women on children abuse. It's a matter that nobody really wants to talk about, but we see the stories coming out now. Thanks to social media, we see how dangerous friends can be. I've had a female friend that was involved in the orchestration of my death and my kidnapping with my daughter. I had an incident not too long ago, just recent, where a female friend actually drugged me. I still don't know if the intention was murder, rape for the male friends that she had in her company, or robbery. But this is what we women do. It even goes to a point of witchcraft. It goes to a point where a woman will literally go and bewitch another woman, being it initiated by jealousy, being it initiated by a relationship, because relationships also do cause woman on woman violence. We tend to feel some entitlement to men, which is also another form of abuse towards men. The issue that women threaten men, ukuthi, if they spend their time with a certain person, or if they spend their time at a certain place, they become violent against them, or they threaten them not to see their children again. Violence or abuse is very bold. It is vast. And I feel like it is also an individual's responsibility to make sure that you take care of you. You take care of the next person. And I feel like if we all were synchronized in that mentality of I'm saving myself and I'm saving the next person, if our duty was just that, it would really, really bring a great healing, a great restoration, and it would minimize the abuse. I wish that men also, because a lot of men will sit around with abusive men at the same table, knowing very well ukuthi bayenzani, but they will hardly advise their guy friends on the matters at hand. It's rare that I hear amadoda saying ukuthi they confronted a friend and they stopped being friends with someone because they were abusing their wives. We don't know ukuthi indoda mayisukuma when he's drunk at a place and he's saying ukuthi, you know what, this woman has aggravated me, it's enough, now tonight she will. Because I don't think they just keep quiet. Maybe some do, but some I feel ukuthi they do state ukuthi they are angry. And I don't know what men discuss amongst themselves, but I feel like if they would also be bold enough to talk to their mates, it would really be of assistance. Warn a woman. If you can see ukuthi a man is leaving a place and he's aggravated and he's agitated and he's angry, send a message to the woman. If you know ukuthi you can't, it might compromise your relationship or your friendship with the guy, I feel like send a warning to the woman to say, you know what, you need help. Or send to a few of her friends. Say, you know what, I need you to check up on your friend. Her boyfriend left her really upset because of a matter that, or something that is challenging in the relationship. There's nothing wrong. In most cases. But can that just be based on body shaming and criticizing other people's choices in life? But if it's an issue that is putting another human being's life at risk, trash has no gender, meaning that anybody can inflict some form of abuse on another human being. We speak about women on women abuse, but also now the other reality is the mother on children abuse, the parent on children abuse. I feel that it is still abuse when a father is not home to discipline a child at 6 in the evening. I feel like it is abuse because those actions of that child could manifest in an ugly manner towards another human being. What is umntana umfana doing ebusuku emgwaqweni? I feel like it is abuse to be absent as a parent. I feel that it is abuse to hand over your parental responsibilities to boyfriends. Most parents do that. We're not just going to talk about minors, which they are being beaten by their mothers, because we know in society there's a very big difference between giving a child a hiding to discipline them and abuse. And that is a topic for another day. And even now, umzali, unembeza wako, your conscience does tell you when you are doing the wrong thing. I feel like our parents, our mothers as daughters, if you see your daughter coming home with an expensive cell phone that you did not purchase for her or her father purchased for her, it raises flags. You know, what is your response as a mother? What is your response when a guy comes on a Friday night, hoots outside, your daughter comes out with a bag, she has no cent in her purse? What is your response when your daughter comes home and a blue eye? What is your response when your daughter comes home and she's pregnant? Do you ask if there was consent? Do you ask if she still feels safe around this person? Do you ask if she feels that the person who impregnated her is fit to be a father? What is our response really when women go through anything? When children go through anything? When our sons go through anything? Our sons get trapped by girls? Because I remember there was a little boy who made a joke and said, I did not impregnate that girl. She chose me because I was the one with the gold tooth. So she thinks my family's rich. We took it as a joke, yes. But question is, how manipulative can girls get towards our sons? And is it abuse? Are our sons abused out there? What are we doing as parents? Because also, like I did mention that I feel that ignorance is a form of abuse. I feel like negligence is a form of abuse. If your son is not used to a no at home, if you did not teach your son about rejection, I feel like the lessons that we do not give to our children, the lessons that we deprive, are also a form of abuse. Because you will realize in most cases, Guti, this boy will end up in prison. Why? Because he violated a woman. Why did he see nothing wrong with that? Because at home he was never told. In the schools, I feel like the school system can also play a huge role in preventing gender-on-gender abuse. Young girls abusing young boys. We saw a video go viral of a young girl in a high school who beat up a young boy. Nobody really wants to talk about that. We know that abuse is generally, or in a more solid form, it comes in the words that a man has done wrong. There is nothing wrong with wanting to find out the root of the problem. At school, what is happening? During lunch breaks, are children still being monitored? At what stage or at what age are children led to be free? I'm gonna say free in a sense of, when do we stop being influential to our children? When do we stop brainwashing our children with morals and values and respect and manners? When do we stop as parents if you never did start, you basically were abusing your own child from a very early age. If ever you stopped at some age, that is when the abuse in your home started. I asked the question the other day and I said, ngibona abantwana babafana, it was in the middle of the night somewhere, and I said, but wait a minute. Qala, we used to be scared, you know? It was a matter of when the lights go on in the streets, you're supposed to be home. But now I realized when I asked that question, and someone, as we drove past a pub, there were a lot of men sitting outside at 7, at 6. Some of them didn't even go home to find out if their sons are there, to find out if their sons have shoes. Most men don't even know what their children had as a last meal. And it raised the red flag of saying, Guti, have we really stopped? Have we really been placed in a position where uncles are not home anymore and no one is scared of the uncle, no one is scared of the grandmother, because even the grandmother is somewhere on a Friday or 5. When the kids come, she's not even there. That form of abuse, I'm not saying that it is the 100% blame for how men turn out. Yes, they have the responsibility growing up to choose who they want to be in the society, to choose how they want to treat women, children, and other men around them. But I still feel like we have the power to influence. We have the power to instigate. We have the power as fathers to say to our sons, that will not be acceptable, Guam. Because as soon as children realize, parenting, even at home, I'm not parented. At school, they become rebellious. At school, you are not my mother. But had mom been active in saying, these are the rules in my house, this is how you speak to an adult, this is how you speak to another human being, such ills in the society would be minimized. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Do catch me on social media platforms. On Facebook, I am Busisiwe Ngoyana. On Instagram, Ngoyana Busisiwe. On Twitter, I am Umuntu Kanyana Kamshumaeli. I know it's long. And yeah, do engage with me. There's more of these conversations to be had.